Hi, welcome to NonnasHere. I'm Nonna, and today I'm very excited to be joining in the collab Love is in the Air, Valentines DIY, because we're coming up to Happy Valentine's Day. Yes. Now I hear people saying all the time, I'm not crafty. I can't do any of that. Well, you watch my video and you'll see that you can do it all because my crafts are easy, fun, and budget friendly. I get most of all of my supplies from Dollar Tree, and I save anything that I haven't used in other crafts in my stash, so I always have things to pull from. Now, most of my crafts are small, and I take them to the church down the street who has a committee who visits shut-ins and people that are home recuperating from surgery. And I bag them up, put a few inspirational stickers in them, and the committee goes and visits the shut-ins and the people that are home recuperating from surgeries or long-term illnesses. And that way they have a little something to give to them on their visits. So that's where most of my crafts go because I couldn't keep all of them in this condo that we live in. Also, I give away a lot of the things that I make as gifts. And the wreath that you're going to see in this video is a gift that is going to my cousin as a Valentine's gift. And so that's where that one is going. So my crafts are very easy to make, and you can do them too, even if you say, oh, I'm not crafty. So also, you'll notice that my nails are a real mess. Just ignore them. I'm trying to let them grow out after I've had a lot of press-on nails on, so just ignore my nails. Also, you'll notice in the video that I have a lot of different long sleeves on. It's been quite chilly, and I craft in the morning, afternoon, evening, and even into the early morning. So I have different clothing on. That's why you'll see me in different clothing. And my crafts aren't all done in a single day. I craft over several days. So that's why you'll see that. Okay, enough chatting. Let's get over to my craft table and I'll show you what I've been working on for Love is in the Air Valentines DIY. DIY number 1 for Love is in the Air. For the first one, I'm going to use this small stretched canvas, and I'm going to cover it with Waverly Ballet slippers in pink. It's a pink color, and I'm going to use this stencil heart. This is the one I'm going to use for this first one, and I'm going to use these red stick-on letters. So I'm going to paint the canvas with the ballet slipper chalk paint. So I'm going to cover the entire canvas, and I only gave it one coat because there was nothing on the canvas, was plain when I started. Then I'm going to take this crimson home decor chalk paint, and I am going to stencil this heart. Now, the stencil that I had, this stencil foam, I didn't want to use it. So I had this foam sponge makeup thing that I had just washed, and it was torn, and you never want to use a torn sponge makeup because it has bacteria in it. So I trimmed it down to the size that I wanted, and I'm going to use that as my sponge. So I dipped it in the paint, and then I took a paper towel and kind of dabbed it off because I didn't want my paint to glob onto the stencil. And now I'm just going to dab it onto the stencil and make sure I have the entire stencil covered. I've masked off the heart so it doesn't go outside of the stencil. So I'm just going to dab the paint on using my facial sponge that I've cut off so that it'll fit in to all the little lines of the stencil. I'm going to pick up a little bit more paint, and I'm just going to make sure that everything is covered. And then I'm making sure everything's covered, because once you lift the stencil, there's nothing else you can do. So then I lift the stencil off, and it came out fine. And then I used my red stick-on letters, and I actually put some Jot white glue on the back of the stickers because they don't always stick real well, and wrote Happy Lover's Day. I'm just putting some Jot glue there, and then I dipped the stickers, the letters, in the Jot glue to make sure that they stayed on real well, because I don't want them to lift. And I know my letters aren't straight, but I never make them straight because that's too much of a hassle, so I just put them on haphazardly. Then I took my Mod Podge in satin and I went over everything. So since it makes it look different, the Mod Podge just on the letters, I Mod Podged the entire canvas so that it doesn't just look different where the letters are. And then I took some string and put some red beads on them to make the hanger. So there I strung some red beads on that I already had, and I hot glued the string to the back of the canvas to make a hanger, just like that. And that's the end of this first DIY, and we'll take a better look at it in the final reveal. DIY number 2. For this one, I had a chalkboard heart that I'd gotten at Dollar Tree. See, I'm just showing you it's a Dollar Tree, but I'm not going to use it as a chalkboard. I'm going to take off that little string heart and made a little dent there, so I smoothed it off just like that, and then I took off the string, smoothed it off, and now I'm going to cover it with my ballet slipper chalk paint again. There we go. I'm going to cover the entire heart with the chalk paint. And I may have given this 2 coats to make sure I had full coverage. Then I decided I'm going to use a couple of those stencils to put on this heart. So first I picked out one stencil and I mask taped it down so I wouldn't get any of the other stencils on. Again, I'm going to use my crimson red chalk paint. I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use my foam face sponge. And I'm going to do it just like I did the first one. Red paint in the dish, dab it on the paper towel, and stencil it. Now this stencil has a lot of little crooks and crannies in it, so I need to be sure and get it well covered so that when I lift it, everything's well covered. So I'm going to dab it down and cover everything so that when I lift it, the stencil is complete. So I'm going to lift off the masking tape. carefully. And I want to make sure I got those edges real well. Pull it out. Oh, good. There it is, just fine. Now I'm going to do another one. And I'm just going to do the inside of this stencil. So again, I have it masked down. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Got my red paint. And I'm going to go over it. And then I'm going to lift it up. Now I want to do a third one, but that stencil is on a wheel with cardboard, and I can't get it to fit where I want it to go. So I've removed the stencil off of course I have to let all the other two stencils dry completely so I don't smudge them. So I want to use the inside of this heart, but I can't get it to fit on the heart, the board. So I've taken it off of the stencil board. I've masked down what I want it, where I want it to go. And I'm going to put it there up in the corner of the heart board. And I'm going to just do the inside of that stencil. And when I take it off, what happens? But I have smudged it. See where I smudged it? Yep. So, but as my motto goes, there are no mistakes in art, only opportunities to enhance. So I have these little stick-on beads, so I'm going to use them to cover the smudge marks and put 2 rows of beads around the smudge marks to cover them. So I fixed that. Now I have some pink ribbon that I had in my stash, so I'm going to make a hanger. It's got little heart holes in the ribbon, and I'm going to hot glue that to the back of the heart board, make a hanger, and I sprayed it with the clear acrylic coating so it won't yellow. And I'm just going to hot glue that ribbon, that pink ribbon that has little heart holes in it. Take a better look at that in the final reveal. But now I want to introduce to you our host for Valentine DIY's Love is in the Air. First we have Brenda from Rustic and Lace, and then Krista from Krista's Crafty Life. I want to thank both of them for allowing me to participate in today's collab. I'll have the links to both of their channels down below in the description box and the playlist of all the creators who have joined in today. You'll want to be sure and check out both Brenda and Krista's channels and the videos of all the creators who have joined in today to get lots of ideas to make Valentine DIYs. Be sure and show them some love and give them a thumbs up like. They've worked really hard to bring this Love is in the Air collab to you. Also, feel free to subscribe to any of the channels. You know it's free. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe to NonnasHere. Okay, let's get back to my craft table and look at the next DIY. Love is in the Air DIY number 3. For this one, I took a small crate. Most of my supplies are from Dollar Tree, and some styrofoam and some roses. I have pink roses, red roses, and some picks that I had left over, red, pink, and some big ones and some small ones and some medium-sized ones. And then I had a bag full of glitter hearts, red, pink, big ones, medium-sized ones, small ones that I'm going to use. And I painted the box with moss colored chalk paint. I painted all four sides and a little bit of the inside in case some of it showed. I stuck the styrofoam inside the box so I could stick the flowers in. And then I cut the flowers down to different lengths, the stems down to different lengths. And after I did that, I simply took the flowers. Oh, and I took some of the hearts, and some of them already were picks, but some of them were not picks. So I took bamboo skewer sticks and stuck them in the bottom of the hearts and made them into picks. See those bamboo skewers? And I just stuck them in the bottom and then cut off the sticks to different heights or lengths, so that they would be different lengths in the basket. Then I just took the flowers and stuck them into the styrofoam until I was happy. Just stuck them in. And I turned the box around and around until I felt like I got everything filled out like I wanted it to be. Then I took my little glitter hearts. Now those weren't stick-on hearts. They were glitter on both sides. So I used some big ones. I used some small ones. And I took my, hot glue gun. And I just put a dot of hot glue on the backs of them, and I just scattered them on around the box just to make it look pretty. Some pink, some red. All right. And that's how it looked when I got done. Very easy, very simple, anyone could do. Stuck some hearts in with the flowers. DIY number 4. Now for this one, I really wanted a heart-shaped wreath form. Could not find one anywhere. So I'm using one of these small wire wreath forms and this string of greenery with some little white flowers. And then I'm using these, what are those called? Tie things. And now I've got some white flowers with roses with pink tops, edged in pink. Some white roses. Let's see, those roses are called tea roses, the white ones with the pink edge tops. Then I've got some real pretty pink roses, and those are called cabbage roses. And then I have some white roses, and those are called queen rose bush. So they're all roses to me. And so the first thing I'm going to do is, okay, you get 2 of these wire roses. They're about, I think they're like 8 inches. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take those apart. I'm only going to use one wire wreath. And I'm going to wrap this greenery around the wreath. And I'm going to use those ties to attach it to the wreath form. So I wrapped it all around and the wreath form, and then I went and you can see the tails of the ties sticking up there. And I know it looks like a total mess right now, but don't worry about it. So then I cut off the tails of the ties. I cut them down low. And then I looked at the wreath, and there's a lot of holes. See, I'm showing you where I cut down the ties. And I looked at it, that's the wrong side, where I cut down the ties. So I looked at it, and there's a lot of holes. And I know there's a lot of holes, but don't worry about it. I'm going to use those flowers to fill in the holes. And there's places where the greenery sticks out. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to let that greenery stick out. So I'm going to see there's a big hole, but I'm going to take those flowers and those roses, and I'm going to put them in the holes. So I'm going to start to take the roses and I'm going to stick them in those holes so you don't see the wreath form. Now, right now, the roses have long stems on them, all right? That's so I can find them in the back of the wreath form after I stick them in. So I stick them in, and then I keep holding the wreath form up in the air to see if I filled in the holes, because when I'm looking at it down, when it's laying flat on the table, I really can't see the holes. So I keep holding it up in the air to see how it looks. All right, so when I get all the roses on, I now flip it to the over, and I'm looking at the back. And see, I'm holding it up in the air to make sure I've got all the holes filled in. Then I flipped it over and I cut down all those rose stems. And I had that pink glitter heart, and I glued it on the bottom, and I pulled down some of the greenery. But I flipped over the wreath to the back, and I cut down all those long rose stems. Okay, now it's real hard to see, but I clipped down all the rose stems, and now I'm hot gluing all of those rose stems and all of the black ties down. I'm hot gluing them all down to the wreath form so they don't slip or come undone. So I'm trying to show you where I'm hot gluing everything down so those rose stems don't slip, and so those black ties don't slip. So everything is glued down to the wreath form, so nothing is going to slip or fall out. All right, now I have this grosgrain ribbon, and it is in a light green shade, and I just tied it around the wreath form, tied a knot. Now I'm going to hot glue that down to the wreath form to make sure it doesn't slip. All right, and I made a tie. But everything is hot glued in the back so that the roses won't slip around and the ties won't slip around. And when I finished, it actually looked like a heart because there was greenery hanging down at the bottom. Okay, I'd like to thank again Brenda from Rustic and Lace and Krista from Krista's Crafty Life for hosting this collab, and I really appreciate it. Be sure and check out their channels and the playlist of all the creators who are participating today. All right, let's look at the final reveal of the crafts that I did today. First up is the stencil, the first stencil I did of Happy Lover's Day with the single heart. And it does have a hanger, but it's hanging down the back. All right, then next up is the 3 stencils where the one got smudged, but I used the beads to go around it to cover up the smudges, because there are no mistakes in art, only opportunities to enhance. And third is the little basket of flowers and hearts in the crate with the heart picks and the glitter hearts on the crate. And last is the heart wreath, which sort of turned out like a heart because of the greenery and the pink roses, the white roses with the pink tips, and the white roses and the pink heart at the bottom, which really kind of gave it a heart shape. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video today of my crafts, and if you did, I hope you'll subscribe to NonnasHere and give my video a thumbs up. I hope to see you again soon at NonnasHere. Bye!